Hello again, welcome to my channel for another video on moon signs. So here we are in Aquarius moon. So I'm so excited and get to know this moon placement. So I want to know the deep secrets of this moon placement because I'm also have some Leo placements and I would like to know more about this moon. Okay, so I'm with a very special astrologer and we have collaborated before and thankfully she is here with me and she also has Aquarius moon. And yeah, you can find her also on Instagram. B, welcome B. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy and excited.
Thank you for having me. I am B. I'm the Zenewitch, and I've been an astrologer for quite some time. And I love getting to connect with people across the world. This is so exciting.
Yeah, exactly. That should be your Aquarius moon, internet connection, internet friendships, online friendships. Okay. So yeah, I will also tag you on YouTube and in the post so that people can connect with you as well. So now our topic will be Aquarius moon. So I think there will be more to uncover about this moon. So with this moon placement, like when you think of your own moon placement, your own Aquarius moon, or when you read clients or when you see someone with Aquarius moon, what is the first word that comes to your mind? What's the key word in your opinion?
Authenticity.
Yes,
I
exactly.
feel like Aquarius moons are really quite accepting people, um, except if you are, they can sense if you're not showing up authentically. Um, so we like to make room for people to be as they are. The thing that makes it hard for us to connect, I think, is when we can sense somebody is trying to people please us or, not being honest or, sharing what they really think about things. Yeah. So when I think of Aquarius moons, I think about authenticity.
hmm So I also have a professor at university. So she has an Aquarius moon, and she was so careful with plagiarism. So she used to check copyrights of the students' projects and papers. Like she was so annoyed when someone stole someone's idea or something like that. So I think you care about authenticity, like with that moon placement, which is cool because like if we didn't have authenticity in this world, so it wouldn't be that exciting after all. Okay.
Yeah.
So, as you said, like they can kind of sense, I believe, when someone is not authentic, when someone is copying someone, or like someone is behaving like a people pleaser or not sincerely in a way. So that is also connected to the moon, in my opinion, because moon is about feelings. So with Aquarius moon, like your radar will be on, like to things that are not authentic, I believe. So that's the good keyword, authenticity. We will talk about that we will talk about that again too. Okay, so then we also have like I did session on Libra Moon, for example. So they told me that they were so annoyed when someone gets judgmental. So I also see this energy relevant in Gemini and Aquarius as well, the air signs. So I think this is also related to acceptance, like come as you are energy, just be who you are, be yourself energy. So, how can you comment on this judgmental or non-judgmental behavior with this moon placement?
Yeah, I feel so fortunate to have grown up in a period of time. I also have a Jupiter Uranus conjunction, which probably influences this a little bit, but does make a sextile to my moon. But I also think I feel so fortunate to have grown up in the time and place that I did because um, I've always had like a staunch need for independence and figuring out ways to do things my own way, but also community building. And I think growing up in the 90s, as I did, was a really great time because there was so much focus on DIY, independent thinking, and so it really empowered me that anything that I want to do for my community to build friendships, to build camaraderie, I can do it myself. You don't have to be dependent on the systems that be. So Aquarius moon is also very entrepreneurial, I think, and tries to connect people.
Yes.
I was on a call recently with another Aquarius moon astrologer friend, and it was the first time we met, but we'd been talking online a lot. And he was like, "Oh my God, I want to introduce you to this person, this person, this person, this person." And I'd previously been friends with somebody who was a Capricorn moon. And when I did that, I think that they sort of took it the wrong way, like I'm trying to help them out. But like, I was like, "Oh my God, I want to introduce you to this person and this person and this person." And they just got that I wasn't trying to like act above them or take it the wrong way. They were just like, that's how we naturally are. We're like, we're kind of the people that are like, "Oh, have you met John? Have you met Sandy?" You know?
Yeah, that's cool. So I also love my Aquarius friends for this reason. So like they love to connect people, as you say. So like this is so like logical. Like if someone is my friend, I like him or her. If someone else is my friend, I like him or her. So they can get
Yeah.
along well. So that's easy. Yeah. Okay. So this also comes from the 11th house, I believe. So Aquarius natural rules that house, as you know. So, and as you say, internet is also pretty important. I often see that Aquarius people have online friends more than the other signs, and you confirm that. And when it comes to friendships, so how important is that to you? So before our session, before we record, you told me a story, a personal story about your friend.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that friendships are pretty important to you.
Very much. And the moon is our family. So I feel like people who have Aquarius moons, they're really looking for friends that can be their family. And yeah, like I got into astrology because my late friend, um, she was super into astrology. She was the first person to be like, "Have you ever looked at your birth chart?" And it just opened a door for me. And then when she passed away, it was really hard, but like now here I am all these years later, and I just like anytime I get to meet someone new through astrology, I'm like, "Oh, Melissa's sending me people like new friends, like she vetted them." And so yeah, I think that friendship is not only important to us, but there's a for at least for me, there's like an inner knowing that we're all connected, and even if my friends aren't physically here anymore, they're still here.
Yeah, exactly. So as long as you have that authentic connection, so you can be friends, right?
Yeah.
And like for you as well, like you are doing something very in alignment with your moon. So you have a website, you invite astrologers, and like you have connections all over the world, and you bring astrologers together actually on your website or on your special platform. Would you also like to talk about that briefly?
Oh yeah, like so I have an Astro school. It's over on Patreon. And I tried to like kind of and this might be another Aquarius moon word, but I always think I'm a little bit more of an autodidact. A self learner for people who don't know that word. It just means I tend to learn best through conversations, pop culture, I'm just sociologically like I love reality TV and I love music because it's a way to like understand someone's personal psyche. So like I like to use these tools, I guess, to teach astrology and put it into an accessible language and perspective. So I do a lot of that on my Astro School. I kind of created like a the Netflix of astrology schools, I guess you could say, if you're also a self learner. And what I really try to do that I think is a little unique, another Aquarian keyword maybe,
Yeah.
uh, I'm disabled. I'm autistic and I struggle with chronic illness, and I try to teach things from that not that standpoint because I think that there are also a lot of neurodiverse people who are coming to terms with their neurodiversity at this time and need platforms like that. So I try to put the focus mainly on disabled and queer astrologers who don't always get a platform to do that. So I've been slowly trying to build something. So if you want to support that, that's always helpful because I want to get disabled astrologers eventually paid for their work and have a platform for them. So I'm trying to build that.
Yeah, perfect. I'm so like wholeheartedly supportive of you. So whenever you need anything, so you can just tell me, So and I would love to collaborate again too. So perfect. So you are doing something amazing. Like this is really heartwarming. Like this is all Aquarius moon, I believe. Okay, so then I will use that sociology. So like I'm doing freestyling actually from time to time. So how can we evaluate society and Aquarius moon? So this is also a collective sign. So society should be in it, I believe. So what is the approach to society or being different from the society, being a part of society? So what do these things mean to you?
That's an interesting question. I mean, obviously, it's super important to me. I tend to be more progressive in or radical in a lot of my ideas, although I think that a lot of like what is radical nowadays is just be kindness and we put these terms on it. It's so crazy. Like people who complain about like woke culture when really wokeness is just being aware and being kind. And so that's really important to me. I would say that my beliefs and my values, I've kind of realized over time, like that is important for me in terms of being close and finding safety. I guess safety is a moon word with people. I can disagree with people as long as they're being respectful. The problem is a lot of people aren't. So respect is a huge thing for me too. I think as a Saturn ruled moon, like I think that we need to respect all people. And if you're not, that's going to bug me. That's where I get irritated. And then I guess the other thing too would be just thinking about the future a lot and like how our actions reflect the future that we wish to see. So the biggest fights I get into probably are when people are not being conscious
Yeah.
and, and they, double down rather than to take like accountability, which I guess is another Saturn ruled like accountability means a lot to me. I hope that that answers the question.
Yeah, yeah, perfectly answers.
I think the biggest misconception about Aquarius moons, we were kind of talking about this like off air, was I always see things like they're really detached and I was like, well, I can't relate to that because I feel like a highly emotional person and I can be very sensitive. Um, but I think that the moon can also describe how maybe like your family sees you. Um, and I think my family sees me as detached, probably more than I actually am detached, just because they don't do those things that I just mentioned that are important to me, like accountability and all that stuff. So I just have distanced myself from that and then created a family of my friends. Like, so yeah. I don't like when people say Aquarius moons are detached. I think if they're detached, they don't feel safe around you.
Yeah. And I think they are detached when they want no drama. So this something.
That can be it too. I can be very no nonsense. Like this is my opinion. I'm like laughing because I don't know if this your guest would get this, but here we have a show called The Real Housewives of Orange County, and there's like a
Uh-huh.
famous meme. It's like
Yes.
that's she's a Leo moon, but we
Yeah.
tend to get along because we're both similar in that way.
Yeah, exactly. Opposites attract, actually. Okay, perfect. So then we should also talk about Aquarius and intelligence, and like intellectuality, of course. And then like you said that like you are part of the spectrum of autism, and this doesn't mean that every Aquarius moves like they have like autism or something like that. Every moon placement can have this. But I just want to ask you about the layer of Aquarius moon and your spectrum, like autism. So So how does that help you to like because like you talk about these things openly and you create a platform. So I believe that there are viewers, there are people who want to know more about this. So like how would you relate like intelligence to Aquarius moon with this one?
I think that because they're very entrepreneurial, and I think because they tend to like I at least kind of get obsessive about the things that I'm interested in. I'm like a deep diver, and I do think that's somewhat of an Aquarius moon thing. Like every Aquarius moon I have ever met has something that they're like kind of a little nerdy about,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of them have taken that and made it their career. I don't think that's always the case, but it's common. Um, but I think that what they're really trying to do is build connections between things. I always say that Aquarius moons are world builders. Like we like to build worlds within worlds for us. Like George Lucas is an Aquarius moon,
Yeah.
and I always think he's a world builder. You know what I'm saying? Um, like John Lennon was an Aquarius moon. He is a world builder, you know? And I think that the thing with Aquarius moons is we can often grow up disconnected from our family. So there's a seeker within us that wishes to connect and create families and worlds elsewhere for other outsiders. So I think that Aquarius moons have a really good ability to see where there's lack or deficit in communities and try to create portals for safety, for imagination, for connection through their work.
Yeah, exactly. So that is like, as you said, the ability to be hyper focused on things and to get what they want to build actually. So they build what they want to build eventually, I believe. So that's something
Yeah.
amazing. So
I,
and then
uh, there's a funny quote in Carrie Fisher's book where she's talking about George Lucas and her outfit choices, and he was so specific, and she said, and she I think it was like she wasn't gonna wear underwear or something, and he was like, there are no underpants in space. And I just think that like Aquarius moons, they are intricate thinkers like that. They like
exactly.
and they like very plainly like that, and you just have to accept it sometimes. So that can be a
Exactly.
fault.
Yeah. So I often say this to Aquarius people like Moon, Mercury. So what you say now might resonate so well in 2040, but not now. So they can like kind of think ahead of the time, I believe, with that Moon placement or with Aquarius placements. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, we covered the themes of friendship, authenticity, intelligence, and the let's say labeling as aloof or detached, so stereotypes. So now, would you like to add any other keyword or topic to Aquarius Moon that we missed?
Did we talk about independence and the need
Yes.
for freedom?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like that's a big thing for me that like a big argument when I was a child, especially like in my like so my parents were like very textbook latchkey parenting type of parents. So I grew up with like a lot of independence and a lot of freedom. And so when my parents were like not in the picture anymore, and there was discussion with my siblings who had to raise me, in many ways, like I had a hard time with boundaries. A really hard, and I think Aquarius moon can struggle with. They have their own idea of what boundaries. They need the freedom to be who they are and do what they want. Um, and when they feel like they're boxed in, they can get very restless, and I think that's when they start rebelling. Like I guess rebelling would be like another Aquarius keyword.
Yes.
um, and I never saw myself as super rebellious growing up. Like I did grow up feeling from other people like I was a bad kid because I wasn't a rule follower, right? Like that's very Aquarian. But when I look back on it, like now that I'm an adult, I just see how again I was misunderstood, another Aquarius keyword, um, because I was neurodivergent, and neurodivergent people just like learn differently, and we don't really fit into these little boxes. And I wish that I had maybe had the freedom and the independence to really like learn in the way that was productive to me and have the experiences that I could have had. So now that like I'm an adult, like when I sense somebody trying to control me, I'm done. Like I don't, that's a big thing with me and my family. Like they take that as rebellion or not listening. And I'm like, no, I just have a different way of doing things. Um, it's been like maybe the biggest struggle with my family.
Hmm.
Um, and it's hard because now with like, 10, 20 years have passed. If I had just done the things I wanted to do, I would have been successful. But like, I come from like siblings that are like, you have to go to college, you have to finish school, you have to do things this way. And so I think like for anyone who's like listening and maybe they have like children that are Aquarius moons, or if you have Aquarius moon friends in your life, um, create things in the structure of your life where there's freedom for them to show up and do things their own way. I think that's how you can really benefit Aquarius moon kids. So like Montessori schools, really good for Aquarius moons. I don't know if you guys have those in Turkey or not. Um, but Montessori is like a method of teaching where like all the toys are put at the level of the children. It's kind of unstructured. It's very like learn through play. Yeah, those types of learning experiences I think are more conducive to how we learn and can be productive citizens.
Yeah, exactly. So you just smoothly transitioned to the topic that I was going to discuss too, parenting and Aquarius moon. So you gave a very valuable advice to parents who have Aquarius moon children. So how to communicate with them, how to support them, how to teach them, and how to stimulate them actually. And the authenticity, supporting their authenticity will be pretty important. So trying
Yeah,
not to put them in a box will be pretty important. So
yeah,
this is also something that I observe with this moon sign series. So in each moon sign, something is important to them, but they have to fight for it. For example, for Scorpio moon, privacy is important, but people invade their privacy. Like Leo moon, creativity is important, but people suppress their creativity. Aquarius moon, freedom is important, but people try to put them in a box. So we also like see our struggles in the moon placement, actually. So that's the cool topic that you mentioned. Okay, so now, then we talked about the parenting Aquarius moon children. So for that, as a mother, for example, as a parent, how does an Aquarius moon behave in your opinion? So I don't know if you're a parent or not, but like you can also think about talk on your experience as an astrologer too.
I think okay, so there was this moment when I was in Montessori schools where they didn't have paint, but what they did have was like a bucket of water and a paintbrush, and they would take you outside on the brick wall and you would paint using the water, right? And I think that that was a very monumental thing for me because it broke down the walls of what could like anything is art. Like that was such a big, like I was 4 and that like really helps me. And so I think the best way to support an Aquarius moon child is to show them the places where they can break down the boundaries of what the normal way of doing things is. And that can be as simple as, like I said, that bucket exercise with the water. Or, today we're going to paint outside of the lines. We're going to, and let's let, instead of painting the center thing, let's paint everything around the center. Or like, let's think of the funniest thing we can do when we're walking down the street to get a reaction and make people have a conversation with us. Like, um, one of my favorite books she's not an Aquarius moon, but she is an Aquarius sun. that like I love reading for a perspective shift is Grapefruit by Yoko Ono. It is this, it's called an instruction book to life, but it kind of reads a little bit like poetry or like jokes, but like they're so absurd and funny, but also really deep and make you think. Like she has one called Shoot 100 Panes of Glass, and she gives these instructions if someone has hurt you to find 100 panes of window glass and take it out and then shoot it and then make a map of the lines from the shooting and send it to the person that has hurt you for 100 days. Like obviously no one's really going to do that, but what she's really trying to articulate is the art of being heartbroken. And so
Yeah.
I encouraging them, finding books, finding resources that just make you think in that kind of weird way, I think is really helpful.
Yeah, perfect. So the again, another keyword will be thinking outside the box, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah. Then we talked about freedom, and when we think of moon as motherhood or parenthood, so like parenthood or motherhood might be something that binds you for a couple of years. So when you have a baby, like the baby depends on you and you are responsible for the baby. So it's a big responsibility. Okay. Like so Aquarius is also ruled by Saturn. So I don't think that they will have problems with responsibility. But how does like parenthood sound to an Aquarius moon? So how do they decide? So I'm curious.
I'm sort of misunderstanding your question. How would they decide what?
Decide to be a parent. So it is kind of a big decision for freedom, for example.
I think that there's a misconception again that it comes from that idea of us being detached. Um, Sorry, there was something in the note somebody was speaking.
Okay, okay.
Uh, yeah, I think that so I think that with ch child rearing or the decision to have children, I mean, some people are meant to be parents, some people just aren't. I think that Aquarius moons tend to do things outside of what is considered normal, the normal rhythm. So you'll see probably more people having children later in life once they're established, or maybe even just having surprise babies and making the decision to take responsibility for it. So you can see very young parents too. Um, I think for us, the biggest thing is when we feel like we are safe enough to take responsibility for ourselves, it's like a natural progression. Um, I think that Aquarius moons are like funny. I love seeing like my friends who don't have kids. I love seeing them around kids because they're always like the person that talks to like everyone in the same way. So you're not gonna, which I think is actually healthy for children because we can do this little thing where we talk like this to kids, and Aquarius moons are not gonna do that, and it's kind of condescending to do that. So I love seeing them have practical conversations with other people. Um, so yeah, I think I hope that that answers your question. One thing that I do notice with Aquarius moons that's very different from the advice that I would give any other moon. So
Mhm.
normally we're talking about like synastry and stuff,
Uh-huh.
and like we want to try moon, right? Like we want to have like moon in the same element because they're gonna get along. I don't know many Aquarius moons that enjoyed their childhood and enjoyed their family life. So I see in my practice, Aquarius moons don't tend to be compatible with Gemini moons or Libra moons as easily. And I see, and you can even just like look at like celebrity Aquarius moons too, particularly with the Pluto and Scorpio generation, because you have that square. So you're dealing with
Yes.
like Pluto problems too on top of that. So like I see so many Aquarius moons end up with Scorpio moons, end up with Taurus moons, like the square moon, or like an inconjunct event, like a Virgo moon, because I think what they really want is very different from what is has been safe in the past. So like it's funny. I would not recommend that for any of the other moon signs, but Aquarius moons, like I've had so many clients that are Aquarius moons end up with like Cancer moons.
Yeah,
But that's an inconjunct, like, but it's they grew up maybe with like a lot of independence, not a lot of love and nurture. So like that Cancer moon that's much more like needy and comfortable with like physical touch and all that is appealing to them.
exactly. So I totally agree with that. So Pluto changes everything there, as you said, and then it can also be about like Cancer moon, like seeing the different expression of the moon. So and the inconjunct is also pretty attractive. I believe that as well. Then so for Aquarius moon, we set parenthood, motherhood, like the relationships. So I want to ask a question about relationships as well. So, what keeps Aquarius moon in a relationship? What drives Aquarius moon out of a relationship? So, two hot questions.
Keeps me in a relationship, somebody who likes to play games or can keep my mind really stimulated, um, somebody who asks really good questions, somebody who's very inventive, um, people who like to just get in the car and drive with no destination. Like that kind of stuff is really fun for me. I'm used to that type of stuff. What turns me off is someone trying to control me. Um, Somebody who is again the judgmental thing. Somebody who doesn't align with my ethos, and it doesn't have to be exactly the same, but again, if you're not being kind to marginalized people, to things like that, I probably it's not going to last. Yeah. Another thing to really consider too is like Venus is never going to be super far from the moon either. So you're
Mhm.
most of the time dealing with either an Aquarius Venus or a Pisces Venus. And if you get yourself a Pisces Venus, these are really sensitive, touchy-feely, romantic types of people. So like they need the values to align. You're dealing with an exalted Venus. If you have an Aquarius um Venus, that's only gonna like it's gonna amplify the need for like more thinking, more game playing, more, oh, you get my humor, you're fast, like that kind of, I don't know, somebody who humor is a big thing too, I think. Like you have to get someone's awkward humor.
Exactly, humor, intelligence, like they will be pretty important. So then for motherhood, I also missed something. So I kind of associate Aquarius moon energy when it comes to motherhood, mothering those in need. So it doesn't have to be your child. So
Oh
mothering
yeah.
animals, like maybe orphans, maybe like people who are in need in any way. So
Yeah.
how can you elaborate more in that?
Well, I am an orphan, so I definitely understand what that feels like. So I definitely gravitate towards other people. My personal story is I tend to have a lot of people in my life who have survived abusive relationships and have come to me during times of needing to leave and needing to repair. So I seem to like do very well with that because that's something I've had to deal with in my lifetime. So I can help other people. Grief, people when they're dealing with grief, I'm always kind of the friend that reaches out. I tend to be the friend that reaches out 2 years plus. Um, Something sweet. Like I don't know much about my real mom, but one of the things I do know, she was a Leo moon. Was her best friend had a child that passed away, and my mom used to call her every year on that day. She was the only friend that like remembered her friend's child's death date and did the work and called, and so I always try to do that. I try to be that person now. So like I think that that's something I've really, tried to do. Sometimes it's annoying. Sometimes people, when you have like a Scorpio moon friend, they don't want to talk about it. And so you're annoying them. But I try to be that person as best I can.
Yeah, I love such friends, actually. So I have a Scorpio moon, but I love people like who remember stuff, like who care about something, who care about an important day, for example. So that's amazing that you do it. Again, like we see everything actually, friendship, like parenting, motherhood, like and caring, universal care, and so on. So everything is kind of aligned to each other. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
So, one final question. So, in your opinion, let's talk about the negative sides as well. What is the shadow side of Aquarius moon? Negative sides.
We can be very stubborn because we're a fixed moon.
Yes.
So when you're not agreeing with us and it's something we're passionate about, we can reach a lot of standstills. And I am one person that like definitely needs my space after that point. So I can be a little bit of a brick wall if I'm still cooling off. So I guess that's something I can work on. I'm not, I don't want to say I'm bad at confrontation because I can be really good at confrontation, but I guess is repair has been really challenging for me and something I've had to learn, because I can stubbornly just be like fuck and just like go and do, like I'm not going to deal with this, like I'm just going to move on with my life. I guess that's where the detachment maybe comes from. So repair is something I really had to learn.
Yeah, exactly. So this can be these things. And I also find Aquarius placements, like I also have North Node in Aquarius, by the way. So maybe they are conjunct in the natal synastry of two of us. Aquarius placement kind of mock, or like there's a kind of intellectual looking down on people. So negative, like shadow side. So I know the best, you are stupid. I know better than you. So you don't know anything, kind of.
I used to be like that when I was younger. I
Uh-huh.
and tried to. I've definitely over like I think there's a slow maturity, and I definitely feel like I'm not there so much anymore. But yeah, I can see how it would be interpreted. I mean, I have no patience for like Trump supporters or like people who are trying to take away our rights. And when I see people wanting to like, for example, vote for a candidate that wants to hurt people, even and I can definitely not say nice things.
Yeah,
It can be
okay.
very,
Sure.
but I have
Exactly.
to remember, not everybody is as has access to the things that I have access to. And so I can seem really radical to certain people who've grown up maybe like in a different environment than me. So I have to be more patient with that. Patience is not something I have. That is a shadow quality that I am constantly working. I have a Taurus midheaven, so I always say God is teaching me patience.
Amazing. Yeah, again, like the values will be important for Aquarius moon. Like we also see that here for you as well. Okay, so then I think I talked about everything I want to talk about. So do you want to add anything, any other topic to the discussion? Anything that we missed?
I think that friendship is really important to us. We think friends are a family. So I think if you have like an Aquarius moon in your life, um, like really honor that, you know what I mean? Because when we see inequity in our friendships, it can be really disappointing for us because we'll go above and beyond. We'll try to connect to you. Like I think we try to improve the lives of the people that we love. So I would say if you have an Aquarius moon in your life, allow them to be themselves, honor the friendship. Um, if you're looking for a gift or if you're looking for some way to connect with them, like listen to what they say. Like these are the type of people you want to really like listen to what they say and then like be the friend that kind of shows up like you mentioned this book. I actually got the book. You know what I mean? Like um I was listening to Kathleen Hanna's book recently. Um who was the singer for Bikini Kill, My Life as a Feminist Punk. And something that she said in her book made me cry. This is why I say I'm like not a cold Aquarius moon. Like it literally made me tear up. She talks about how she had Lyme disease, and one day they went to the movies when she was having like a day where her health wasn't terrible with her friend, and she saw in her purse a book, and it was like how to support someone with Lyme disease, and she was like, and that's friendship, like, and like that made me just cry, like, because I'm always kind of looking for that. I try to be that friend, but I haven't had many friends that have been that for me. So
I
like,
get you.
if you have an Aquarius moon, learn about them, like learn, like buy the book, like that's a big thing, buy the book, read the movie or watch the movie, learn how to support them. They need to see that initiative. We are the ones that you need to see that initiative, and then we will trust you for life.
Yeah, perfect. So, like, maybe it's because I have Aquarius North Node. This makes me so emotional as well right now. So, that friendship will be pretty precious. Okay, thank you so much, V. So, we have like
You're
covered
welcome.
all, anything about Aquarius Moon. So, we also have two participants, Alma and Yamila. They also have Aquarius Moon. Like, if they want to show themselves or talk or share, like, you can do it now. So, it's your turn. Hello, Yamila.
Yeah. Nice to meet
Oh,
you.
nice to meet you too. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So, uh, for all the things that we discussed, would you like to comment on anything or share your own experience?
Um, no, I think I kind of relate to most of what V has said. I think the key things that I want to like highlight the most are the friendship and also the sense of freedom and independence that we need. But yeah, I don't want to repeat, but I totally agree with it. I'm also an Aquarius ascendant rising. So I think that it also adds an extra Aquarius. And I also agree with what she said. I'm also a really emotional person. I'm a Scorpio sun. Um, but it's like my emotions are so overwhelming sometimes that I have to detach myself from them and I just can't feel them. I just think about them, but it's hard for me sometimes to actually feel them on my body. Perhaps, I don't know, it comes, I have to get sick or I have to fall and injure one of my legs or something like that to stop for a second and think, okay, what's going on in my life? And then I realize, okay, I was really stressed out, I was really sad. It's something that I'm trying to work in, but yes, it's kind of difficult sometimes.
Yeah, so actually, like feeling too much might be difficult. So when you feel too much, like you seem detached. So that's why, like,
Yeah.
it's kind of coping mechanism, I believe. So that's why people think that Aquarius moons are detached or aloof. So they actually, I believe, feel a lot. They feel compassionately too, I believe.
You feel like you have a particular language? Like for me, it's music. Like if I could call my friend and be like, I'm just feeling this song and she'll get it. Like, do you have like your own language that you use to like describe your feelings?
Um, I think humor is really important for me, so I try to, I don't know, I share memes, for example, or also, as you
Yeah,
said, music.
that that is a
Um,
total, yeah.
yeah, I'm really sarcastic and ironic, so I tend to, like do jokes with my own miseries, so that's what I do. I also sometimes I'm trying to avoid that, but I kind of disappear with my family and with my friends when I'm
I,
too overwhelmed. And then I come back, I don't know, maybe after 2 weeks and I say, hey, hello, how has everything been? And then perhaps I just randomly say that something really terrible happened, but now I'm okay. But yes, that's something also I'm working on. And also, yes, as you said, music. But I kind of like a lot of types of music, but it's like I sometimes listen to one gender and in 1 month, and then I switch, I don't know, from tango to rap to heavy metal to pop, but it's like I get obsessed 1 month and then I
same.
switch. Yeah.
Hey.
It's always funny too, and this is a little off topic, but like I love seeing how the transits affect what you're listening to or like what you're watching. And I guess this is a little off topic, but it's important to anyone who's learning astrology. We place so much energy on like what's gonna happen and like ruminating about like the worst thing in the world that could happen if there's like a Pluto or a Saturn or transit, you know what I mean? Like the planets that everyone's a little scared about. And sometimes it's just literally like what you're watching on television. Like there was a crazy Pluto transit. I was a little scared about it because it was like right on me. Nothing happened that day except I watched the Office episode where they had a murder mystery party.
Yeah, or also algorithm perhaps, or at least I do in my For You page in TikTok sometimes. Yeah, it also.
Yeah, it can just be like the news story that you're kind of we're dealing with, or like it. Yeah, that's been a helpful thing to realize that like maybe I need to detach from what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's so important to like be at the moment, or else like if you always think about what's going to happen, you might miss the moment. So that might be the risk for everybody.
Ground
Okay.
yourself. For an Aquarius moon, practice grounding.
Exactly. So you also said that thinking about future, like thinking about future a lot with Aquarius moon. So that can also be a risk. So now that I like figured it out. Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Yamila. So do you also have any questions? You can ask anything if you would like to.
No, just want to thank you for this space and also for all the
Oh,
information that you've been sharing. Thank you.
thank you. Welcome, welcome. So I'm so happy
Thank you.
to connect with you. Okay. So then, thank you, B. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. This has been so valuable for us. So now let's close the video. So we ended our session with B. So with her precious insight into any topic that we have discussed. And this is the end of the video. So if you like them, there will be more. So please stay tuned and subscribe to my channel. So thank you so much, B, again. See you next time. Take care and goodbye.